As of this recording, it's still Monday, so we've got Monday with the Mayor with Terry Seitz this week.
Hello, Bradford. How you doing today?
Oh, I can't complain too much. We'll start off with deer camp just because.
Let's do it. It's not me, it's deer camp. Folks, I can tell you, based on last year's mention from me to Bradford that he needs to experience deer camp at least once in his life, somebody please call WJTS at 482-2727 and ask Bradford to go to one night at deer camp as it's coming up this fall.
All right, I'll be waiting for some phone calls then. Moving into some business now, we had a lot going on with the Jofco building.
We had a lot going on with buildings, former industrial space in downtown altogether. And as we're learning through this, I kind of sit back and smile a little bit about the good that came out of the council meeting the other night. We really had 4 different projects discussed, each of them in a former industrial space. And that's kind of fascinating to me. In a bigger picture, Bradford, I'm just absolutely delighted. In 2013, about just a little over 2 years ago, we had our first meeting on the master plan development in downtown Jasper, still in the works. We met at the Hoosier Desk Building, believe it or not. And I remember City Vision sharing with the audience that night, about 130 people, that they had counted up approximately 500,000 square feet of former little used or unused factory space in or near downtown. We added, with the purchase of Jofco by Jasper Group, that building, because of the Southside manufacturing plant, is what exactly they got, and that was the value for them. That building was sold to Cash Wagner, but really that was another 300,000 square feet. So that's 800,000 square feet of factory space that used to be used actively that now wasn't. As of the other night's council meeting, and counting Jasper Cabinet within that, we have tens of millions of dollars of projects identified for about 600,000 to 700,000 square feet of that space. That is nothing short of phenomenal, and I'm just so darn proud of this city.
Is this something that maybe could have been done in the past and then we just now got around to it as a city, or what's your thought there?
That's a good question. It's a fair one. I don't know exactly. I think sometimes in the past, in Jasper Cabinet came to play, and there was hope through Rojack that the owner of that, who was interested and really was a Jasper resident, would be able to do something. Ultimately, the market wasn't the best. Ultimately, there were some other passions that Mr. Foose chose to take with his French Lick Water Park development. You can't say anything bad about that. It's a wonderful place in the valley, but certainly it does take dollars. And we know that may have played a role. As far as the others, most people didn't realize there was a lot of vacancy because the Sternberg family has taken well care of the properties. They're maintained, they're clean, they have roofs on, windows aren't broken out. They didn't show. They showed well rather than like, I wonder what could be done with that. And Jofco was within the last minute. That when that was purchased and the offices moved out, that wasn't on the market and then became on the market. But ultimately, instead of tearing things down, we're trying to repurpose. And I would hope even with the library and the city, as we looked at that the dollars and cents could come out equal enough to give consideration to repurposing some of the Hoosier Desk building as part of the cultural center. If it doesn't, and the state tax credits we got go for the site, so be it. But that's my goal, and I'm just very excited about Miller Valentine coming into the city and the cooperation that they've had from other people within the city in the real estate and ownership of that building at Jofco, and then the interest in not only phase 1 is going to go forward, phase 2 is going to be applied for, and then there's a monster recycling opportunity, the former Jasper Wood Products building. If that could turn into some senior housing, that entire neighborhood actually becomes a neighborhood again in ways it's never imagined. It's always been industrial with residential built around it. Now we have still active industrial, but it becomes even more of a residential destination for Jasper and for introductory working groups, working families, working singles to seniors. So while this is some time down the road, identifying those projects roughly in $35 million in that area, the rough estimate on Jasper Cabinet is still to be determined, but I'm very sure it's in 8 figures. And then, of course, the public project, of which I still hope from the city of Jasper is part of that I could look at some housing options for Hoosier Desk. That could be another $13 to maybe $20 million. And none of this was on the table 2 short years ago. It's just, again, it amazes me, and I'm really happy where the city has gone and where the champions are going. We can do these things, whether it's the cultural center or, as I'm very proud of, the private investment, with some public health. The city is playing a role in nurturing some of this, or maybe in the carve out of the TIF for Jasper Cabinet. But ultimately, those buildings that won't be used, that citizens will say, well, what are you going to do about them? Well, let's do something with them before they get to that point, or let's take them back into the tax rolls in a better way. That's my goal.
So what can you envision coming down the pipe next? You didn't expect the industrial space.
The industrial space we anticipated, I knew it was there, but I just really never counted it up, had no reason to. So, I mean, that when I came into office, we knew that that was a goal with the Jasper Downtown Riverfront Plan development, and that's why we did the plan, in hopes to reactivate those buildings. I think really part of that future part is really following through and making sure that there is, that these actually can come to fruition. We certainly know on the other hand, we have a wonderful park opportunity with Parklands that is going through its first effort of beyond the Managed Meadows concept and what City Visions did of now looking at literally planning a park, and that's underway. And then the next stage is really, as we've looked at, is looking at the various funding mechanisms. And again, predominantly economic development income tax. And economic development income tax is exactly what it said. It's for economic development. If we've used some, and we have used some, we put $625,000 of edit funds to roads and streets. That's not going to change. That's continued. But ultimately, it's time we invest back in our city. And we have property tax challenges that we will not use any property tax for any of this work. We have to work within the state property tax caps, and ultimately we have some work that we will want to do with as we look forward in our budget. But economic development income funds need to go beyond streets and roads. They're good. They are not perfect, and they will never be perfect. But we put, again, 30 to 35% of our edit monies every year to streets and roads. Now it's time to do some things with the other parts.
As we wrap up tonight, the formal celebration took place this past weekend for Jasper Arts. I know Strassenfest had the arts theme last year, but now we're doing a formal celebration, or we did one.
Well, we did. It's a 40th anniversary year. We got 3 shows of the arts season kicking off in the month of October, including Vince Gill and the Time Jumpers. And Vince is the national spokesman for America's Best Communities. We're hoping to engage him for a little shout out to Jasper, if not from the stage, from maybe a little press conference or something like that, just about his belief in ABC. And then we have children's shows, backstage shows. A lot of the shows are sold out. I know that some of the ones that are remaining are 85% sold out. On the children's shows, they generally are a lot of walk-up. They hear about it. Families just walk up and do that. They likely will not be sellouts, but they're the very unique opportunities. And just last week, we had Dr. Kaboom, which was a show given to school children, and that was to 1,300 students who came into the Arts Center last week to watch that. So it's a vibrant return. I congratulate the foresight of not only those who were supporters of the arts 40 years ago, but for the consistent support of the arts that is even as evident as late as this past Wednesday at council meeting that we've had for the city. It has been a recruiting tool for talent, and we hope we still can use that. It's a very unusual thing.
Mayor, we appreciate your time as always.
Thank you. Take care.
That's been Monday with the Mayor for this week. We'll be back with weather right after this.